All right. Welcome to episode number 5 of the After Hours podcast. Here with me today, I have the head of events and the project manager for AoE, Nabil Pervez.
Hello. I appreciate you getting the name right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm glad I got it right.
yeah, man.
I've been what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Damn.
You've been
Testing. I've been going over it and, getting my lines and all that. I'm just kidding.
Yo, this man is coming. It just comes to you smooth, man. That's the thing. I think I think as long as I've known you, we've always just vibed like at the beginning. Because I remember we first met over K Barbecue. It was me, you, Josh, and we were playing CS:GO, a meeting for the first time.
Yeah, that was down at Java.
Dude, that was the vibes, man.
Yeah. We should get into that. We'll get into that in a little bit. But first, starting my podcast off with what was your first encounter in the esports space?
Oh man,
it's important.
We're going OG
stuff here.
Okay. So you want extended cut or TLDR?
I mean, we got
a minute.
I ain't got nothing to do today.
All right. If we're going like way back, I started. I've always been a part of the Street Fighter community as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
I started off in like growing up in arcades and playing Super Turbo and Rival Schools and all that.
Yeah.
And I was always like the kid that was winning on my block.
Okay.
So whether it was Street Fighter or Melee, I just dedicated tons of time to it. So I always kind of grew up competitive. I was always in sports. I was the guy that would. I was the smart guy that would go to school, not really apply himself, but would get decent grades. But when I actually tried, I would get better grades.
Right.
And then I would come home, or I would go to school practice, and then I would go home and play Melee, or I'd go home and play fighting games with my friends, and then just constantly get better, always being competitive.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I found out about Twitch and like watching like high level tournaments and whatnot that I became a big stream monster. And
when was this for context?
This was like early Street Fighter 4.
Okay.
So like 2009.
Okay.
I was like massive into Street Fighter. I was religious about this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like so for fighting games, Evo is like mecca and like the thing that everyone in fighting games watches, right? And I was so serious about it that I would take off of work specifically to have that weekend off, barricade myself in a room, and have, I'm kidding you not, 9 Twitch streams up at the same time, trying to watch everything that I could.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I was a huge stream warrior, but it wasn't until I had a trip that I took to Austin.
Okay.
And I met a very famous Third Strike player named Ryan Fubar Duck Harvey.
Okay.
He is one of the, like, to give you context, so if we have Evo in America, there's this massive tournament in Japan called Super Battle Opera.
Okay.
It's like their equivalent of Evo before they got it, right?
Okay.
The thing that's unique about their tournaments is that they're single round eliminations.
Oh, okay.
So in America, we got double brackets and whatnot.
Yeah.
There it's single. It's like one and done, get out. But it's also team structured. So you go in there in teams of 3. Fubar Duck was one of the people that came from America that made it look like, oh, snap, Americans can actually play this game. You know? Previously, they weren't really looked at as very highly. So it was a big deal for me to meet him. And I was convinced that I was like, man, all these people that are like in top 8s, these incredible players that are winning tournaments, there's something from the universe that blessed them, and there's no way anybody else can really get to that level. Mm-hmm. So meeting Ryan, I asked him, because I was like, man, you're a top player. You've done incredible things. Does the game look different to you? And he's like, no, man. I don't see frame data. I don't see numbers pop out at me.
Yeah.
I worked hard like anyone else. Yeah. And I did it. I think you could do it too. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting in the car and I just started crying.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It was huge for me. Because I never thought that I could apply myself and actually like do something. I was the same way in high school. I was like, man, I could actually try, but like, is it really worth it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really think I was kind of in a mental slump for a little while, and meeting writing just changed everything for me. I think it was at that point that I was like, I want to do something with my life.
Sure, yeah.
I want to take it seriously, And I continued to kind of watch streams, but then I started to stream myself. And I was good enough at Street Fighter that I would commentate my games as I'm playing them and call out moves 2-3 steps in advance.
That's the brain power. I can't even say what I'm doing. Like, I remember when I tried to take competitive Call of Duty seriously, I would communication's key in any competitive esport, and I would be trying to talk about what I'm doing, and it's like I get pissed off, and I start shooting not straight or whatever. Like, I rotate funny or something.
Yeah.
That's tough. So I mean, hats off to you, sir.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was funny. I think some of my favorite moments were I remember playing. I play a lot of Dudley when I played 4 and Third Strike. And there was something back in the day called the Snackish Special, which was this dope player in New York that played Zangief. And in 4, you had this armored attack called a focus attack, and it's universal. Everyone has it, and then slightly different for each person, but the mechanic is the same. You can absorb one hit, and then you can hit somebody back, potentially, right? If I oversimplify it. And there was this Zangief player that would get people closer to the corner, would bait them with focus attack, have them jump backwards. He would step towards them and then grab them in the air and kill them.
That's it.
So I would do that with Dudley.
Okay.
And I remember having one of these moments where it's like, okay, this guy is behind on life. He's scared. He's not going to want to get hit with this next one. So I'm going to focus attack. He's going to jump. I'm going to hit him with the Snackish, and I'm going to win this. And he's going to rage quit.
Yeah.
And the exact sequence happened.
Oh, wow.
And I caught it on stream.
Oh, wow.
That was my favorite. I loved being at that level, but as much fun as that was, I was kind of intimidated to commentate.
Sure.
For an actual event. And it wasn't until I met JV that really changed.
Yeah. So does that... So transitioning from your streaming and like how did that actually take place where you started casting? Because I know that was a big part of your early esports career.
Yeah.
Was casting.
It's crazy because so growing up, I've always been the weird fighting game guy.
Sure.
So it was kind of hard for me to find friends that were also fighting game people.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me at least, fighting games was... Like, I'm definitely not as big into fighting games as you are, but I respect the scene, like, a whole lot. And I never really... I had, like, out of all my friends that I played games with, it was, like, maybe 2 even knew what the fighting game community was, and it's weird.
It's crazy, right?
It's weird that, like, nobody knows, but it's, like, such a niche, like, well put together. Everybody's, like, so tight there.
Yeah.
So it's super cool, but... Sorry, go ahead.
But that's why... I mean, that's particularly why meeting JV was so huge for me. So it's funny because it was like a... God, this is going to sound dumb, but it was like a blind date kind of situation.
Sure, yeah.
Because I have a good friend of mine, Brian Waldrop. He goes by Bananas with a Peel. He's a great DJ. Does lots of EDM stuff.
Okay.
And we've been friends since college, but he always shared a bit of a passion for Smash with me. And commonly what it was is he would throw a house party. They would have Smash. I would play Smash. Everyone's like, oh, yo, Neb's here. Let's play Smash with him. This guy's good. I want to beat him. And then it turned into, oh, Neb's here, hide the GameCube. Like, it was that kind of a thing. So even at that level, it was hard for me to find people that I could mesh with.
Right.
And Brian calls me up. He goes, bro, Smash 4 is coming out on the handheld, right, on the DS. And I got somebody I want you to meet. We got to go to this party. You need to meet this guy. I think you're going to hit it off with him. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Let's, sure. Whatever. Like, he's never done this to me before. Sure. So I was already kind of like awkward about it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do this. So I go to this party and it's these near UTD and it's one of those college apartments kind of places. And we were walking in and the guy's just walking out of the party and Brian's like, yo, Justin, JV, wait. This is the guy I want you to meet. And Brian introduces me to JV and he wasn't like super enthusiastic, which is odd for him. It's out of character, but it seemed like he was tired.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, what's up, dude? Hey, yeah, do you want to play Smash? I was like, yeah, dude, sure, let's play Smash. He's like, no, 64. I was like, oh, old school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So we went to his apartment, which was right next door.
Yeah.
And we started playing, and it was such a weird feeling because Brian and Lori Brian's girlfriend, wife now.
Sure.
Were just chilling on the bed, and they were just silent.
Uh-huh.
And JV and I were talking about like the most existential, life-changing things that fighting games have taught us about, how they've shaped our character, things that we've learned through fighting games, like morals about perseverance and like sticking to your guns and coming up with a game plan and self-improvement, being harsh on yourself. Weird, bro. Like it's the weirdest feeling when it's like you felt alone and like the weird guy your entire life, and you met your other half.
Yeah.
We're not like that. Like I respect pride and all that stuff, but we're not like that. But like that, it was so cool.
Yeah.
It was like finding my other half.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and it wasn't in a way where it's like we finished each other's sentences, but we were still very different people in a lot of ways. But our moral fiber was very close to the same, and
Sure,
it was super refreshing. And it was like it was like a week later after meeting him that he texted me. He's like, bro, I know you're doing that streaming stuff. Do you want to like cast some games together on your stream? I was like, yeah, sure, yes.
Yeah, why not?
And we played some games, and we casted, and we chilled on stream, and it was kind of rocky chemistry at first, and then it turned into like, hey, there's these tourney locator guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to like go cast for them? I was like, are we allowed to do that? Is that a thing? It's like, I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah.
So he calls up T-Lock and says, hey guys, we would love to like just come shoutcast like one match.
Yeah.
And we came. I was overdressed. I showed up legit in like a collar and like business attire to shoutcast a weekly, like pools.
Yeah.
And I was so hyped on it. And they're like, they came to me and like, you look okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The T-Lock guys were kind of taken aback by us. But it's the weirdest thing when they let us on the mic, and we didn't know anything about like the people, the personalities. Honestly, we didn't know anything about the game. We were casting Project M,
right?
But we loved it. And I think it showed, because as soon as we were done that night, like the guys who were running Tourney Locator at the time, Wet and Infinity, were like, "There's something here, you two. Like, you guys are rough around the edges, but there is something here, and we can't put our finger on it, but we think it's something." And we want to see what we can do to work with you. And they were very upfront with us and saying, like, if you guys can figure this out, we might want to sponsor you, and we might want to have you at bigger events.
Oh, sweet.
So it was early on that we were blessed with an opportunity. We were really fortunate.
Yeah. So, and now I think this is where you guys, or when did you guys get your nickname that you...
The Brown Battalion?
Yeah, yes. I was making sure that was done right before I said it.
It was like, we kind of came into it, and this was like, I think about a month after we had started taking it seriously.
Sure.
And we think about all the famous duos that are out there, right? We think of Tastosis. We think of in Smash, there's also TK Breezy and EE, the Black Plague.
Right.
We think about D1 and Prague, a tribe called Rest, and we're like, bro, what's our name? And we were like racking our brains, and we were like, it'll come to us. And then JV and I are getting ready to set up casting for that weekly, and JV's like, yo, Brown Battalion. I was like,
that's it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's us. It's exactly like what it fits us. We definitely like represent our culture in a lot of ways. Yeah, why not? Let's do it. To which we ran with it, and then like, oh God, a couple years later, and we've done so many shenanigans together.
Yeah, I bet. Cool. So I met you it feels like a lot longer than just over a year ago. What month are we in? June?
We're in
just under a year ago.
Yeah.
So it hasn't even been a year. I feel like I've known you forever. But obviously we met through, coming here and the whole Infinite project. But before that, I know you were with PvP. How did you kind of transition from the casting into PvP, or did you still did it? You did it in tandem, or how did that work out?
Yeah, it was tricky because I was doing like real job and esports at the same time.
Yeah.
So like when I was picking up Shoutcasting, I was working in IT still.
Okay. That's right.
So my 9 to 5 was like I was running IT teams for whether it was T-Mobile or social media listening companies, and pretty much what it ended up being was I was doing that. I was head of marketing at Tourney Locator,
right?
Because eventually they said, you're doing all this great stuff for us, but now it's more than just Shoutcasting. We need to put you into the company,
right?
And then it was through marketing for Tourney Locator that PvP Live contacted us.
Mm-hmm.
They contacted me and said, me and JV originally, and said, hey, you know, they were trying to run Hearthstone tournaments at that point. They're like, we want to run a Street Fighter League. Do you want to shoutcast Street Fighter for us? And we're like, yeah, absolutely. We'll figure this out. One furlough and a complete change later, PvP Live was then a news and media organization.
Right.
To which they're like, I was still friends with them over the course of a year, and still hanging out with them all the time.
Yeah.
So it would be, I would come over and play games with them and just chill. And then the opportunity came where their CEO, Casey, was like, hey, I know you're between jobs. Do you want to like run our marketing, like for all of it? And I was like, wait, what? Yeah, come in with like a proposal, and I'll run you through leadership, and you present to us, and we'll go from there. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, let's talk. So I came in, and that was like my job interview, was me essentially pitching what I would do for them.
Sure.
So I ran marketing for PvP Live through their news cycle to eventually their tournament platform.
Right.
I ran their marketing.
Yeah.
So that was a mixture of digital and influencer.
Uh-huh.
And then it was also, I was kind of doing other stuff on the side. So I was acting as a host for video content.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was also a writer.
With PvPs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All that with PvP. I was writing Smash articles for them too.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But
your plate was full.
Yeah. Dude, that was a crazy 9 to 5. And then on top of it, I would fly out on weekends whenever I could to shoutcast at majors. So I would be flying out to all these events and trying to shoutcast at nationals. But as soon as my block was done, I wouldn't play games. I would go immediately into networking mode and try to meet top players, TOs, anybody that I could try to help Tourney Locator and PvP Live.
Yeah.
Me as a byproduct, but I was a bit of an afterthought. My mindset has always been do good for the community, and the community will help you.
Right, yeah.
So it was a lot of that. And while PvP Live, in my opinion, I wasn't really feeling the transition to the tournament platform.
Sure.
I respected Scotty. I respected all the rest of the staff that was there with Casey and Chester and all of them, and Josh Mull, and Dustin Foss. Like, all those guys are great guys, but it wasn't what I signed up for. Yeah. And I was losing passion by the day, and I think they saw it. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of on my way out. Mm-hmm. But it was through a couple of friends that I had made in the local community that I'd known that Infinite was coming for a while. Through Markel, for instance. I knew Chris Chaney. I'd met him a couple times. Yep. And leading into what I knew was coming, I wasn't super scared leaving PvP Live because I knew that something was around the corner. Yeah. So it was after I left PvP Live, I came back within a couple of weeks and took a chair that was 4 rows down from where I was previously at PvP Live, and I was there at Infinite.
Yeah. So you knew about Infinite through Markel, like you said, and however else you met Chris. How exactly did that unfold for you, like getting involved with Infinite?
Yeah, it was like, so this is where it's kind of weird, is like originally I knew about Infinite and the plays that we were trying to make, me and Markel, back when we were on PvP. Okay. We knew that PvP was not heading in the direction that we wanted, and we were like, we wanted out. Yeah. So Markel had already got everything running. It was interesting because Markel and I were pretty close. Sure. He was on some tough luck at the time. He wasn't getting nearly what he deserved in terms of salary. None of us were, honestly. And I remember his car breaking down, or he didn't have a ride back home, or he would have some, problems getting situated and stuff like that when it came to like all that. So I mean, it wasn't a question for me. I just took care of him. It was like, you need to ride home, I got you. If you need me to take care of lunch for the day, it's fine, I got you. Like,
sorry to interrupt, did you know each other before PvP, or you guys met at PvP? Okay.
Yeah. So I knew him back when I was shoutcasting for Street Fighter tournaments. I met him through Versus gameplay. Okay. So it's funny, whenever I was wanting to come to PvP Live, Markel was one of the reasons why. Because I saw his graphics design and I said, I want to be with this team. Yeah. So we knew each other going into it, and he was one of the reasons why I joined. And we had always been like, it's an interesting dynamic because he's always been on the Street Fighter things and I've been on the Smash side. And Versus gameplay had kind of had a couple moments where they saw T-Lock as like a rival. Like we were competing in the same space for some reason, and I mean, Markel was one of the only people that on their team that was reasonable about it. That was like, no, they're chill, just be chill with them. And the rest of their team was kind of having some problems and hashing it out with us. But regardless, Markel and I had always been pretty cool, and we had been like super chill about all this, and we were kind of trying to figure out a way to get things started with this. Sure. But it had always been like a pipe dream. Like, we always would go to lunch and we'd talk about crazy ideas we had for events or creative ideas that we would use to market teams. And eventually it came a time when he took me to lunch and he said, what if I told you this is going to be real? What if I told you I found the investor and I found the team that can do it? Yeah. And then it became, holy smokes, let's do this. Yeah. So from that point onward, there was like a big amount of time that it was like, okay, we're figuring out where we're going to work, figuring out how this all works out. And so there was a lot leading into it, but man, what a snowball afterwards. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely a snowball. I mean, you know, I can only speak for myself in my personal experience through Infinite. Definitely, I can't even say a turning point in my career. I feel like it's almost the starting point of my career. Like, you know, we did our own thing and everything prior. We got our feet wet, you know, but this was the true, like, going from hobby to career, you know, and it overnight it went from hobby to career. So for me, it was a big, huge step. And then obviously everything happened the way it happened, and now we're all here, which is great.
Dude, you guys crushed it out the gate. Like, I remember day one when we were hanging out, and you guys showed me a bunch of the designs you were working on. I'm like, holy, this is gonna be crazy. Yeah. And every time I come to you with some sort of fire, it was so quick of like, all right, let's get it going. We got this going. And as soon as you said it's done, I did not worry from that point onward. Yep. So I think that even from the beginning, like, out the rip, you guys were crushing it, and you guys took advantage of the opportunity. And it's the same with me, right? Like, we're fortunate enough to have what we have right now because, you know, we were lucky to get an opportunity, and we took our shot and we hit it. We got lucky.
Yeah, definitely did. So for me, I moved here in September. So that's what, wait, no, my maths are really wrong.
I don't remember when you got here.
I moved here September of 2017. So I'm going to be here 2 years. So I've known you over a year. All right. So in the beginning, we were talking about how I've known you almost a year, but I'm way off. My times are jacked up. I've been sleeping the past few days. It's been a mess.
It's all good.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. So September 2017, December 1st, we moved in. Anybody who's listened to Josh's episode to the Entrepreneurial Suite, it's kind of what we coined it. Our apartment was the suite, you know, be on that grind.
It was a fun pad too, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was you and Jace, I think, were there, right? We had that little like faux LAN type
we
thing.
did.
We played, I think it was CS, or I think we played Overwatch.
We played Overwatch.
That was my first time playing Overwatch.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. I was like, okay, you're going to play 76, and you're just going to click heads, and it's going to be like
just
Call
like
of Duty.
Counter-Strike. Or Call of Duty, yeah. Oh, man, that was fun. Yeah. I had such high expectations to do that, like, you know, 2 or 3 times a month or whatever, and we never did it again. I mean, to be fair, it really didn't make sense to have people lug all their equipment over to the spot to do that when we had Java, which is, you know, 20 minutes.
And it was great. It was Jeff has always been a super homie and hooked us up.
Yeah, Jeff's a good dude.
I still need to go back and say hi to him. I've been missing him.
I went for business. I went down there and talked to him a couple months ago. He's, you know, they're still killing it down there. But we definitely should go back there just for, you know, the sake of reminiscing and playing some Overwatch with your boys, your squad. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, you know.
And then, I mean, from there, like at Infinite, we were pretty much right next to each other.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of shenanigans when it came to the Houston Outlaws.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
Oh, dude, you remember? So it was interesting because it was a mix of me like a bit learning on the job, and stuff that I kind of already knew.
Yeah.
Like in terms of theory, because I'm diligent in the fact that it's like if I don't know something, I'm going to do my homework.
Right.
That's what comes with being like a fighting games player. It's like you don't know it, go find out the frame data.
Yeah.
So I think we took a lot of theories that I had and then I put it into practice and I learned that on the spot. And then there was other aspects where it's like we got to have a lot of fun. Like I think South by was an example of like a lot of chaos but a lot of fun.
Yeah, unfortunately South by was the first event that the entire merch team went to and also the first event that Zack did not go to.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah, I was so upset that I couldn't go. I forgot. I think that was the week I had my cruise that I planned for like 18 months out because you know how cruises are. Yeah, so I ended up being that weekend. Which
was that sick though?
It was a cruise.
I mean, I gotta hit up a cruise myself. I need to learn that life.
Do it. Do it. I mean, book one 18 months out. You take 18 months to pay it off. No interest. It's great. Do it. But yeah, we missed South by. I remembered there was only like one fire we had to worry about because getting product down there. I mean,
it was a pain.
Getting all that product down there that's a feat.
Yeah, but it was a tough ask, but it came from higher up, and they were very specific, and we did it, and it worked out.
Yeah, so it was from my perspective all the way out. Not seeing it was successful, and I only heard good things, and I know it was a good first point of the Outlaws.
It definitely it was such a crazy thing because we had such a huge amount of support.
Yeah,
like even at the very beginning, like our first watch party was like marketed within 1 week.
Yeah.
And we had 600 people show up.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Sitting through hail,
right.
bro.
Yes, that's right.
Their cars being destroyed.
Yeesh.
Like, and they're sitting there happy as a clam to do it. They go inside the venue and it's like a tin roof or whatever. And like the hail's hitting it. It's so deafening you can't even hear anything. And then it luckily stops before the match starts. So it was crazy. And then I feel like after South by, I feel like I learned a ton. And from there, it's like, it's one of the, I know it sounds dumb, but it's like, once the worst thing happens to you, you're not scared of anything really anymore. You know what I mean?
Like, no, I know. Yeah.
Like
it's
once
like that rock bottom effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you've put out that fire, it doesn't scare you anymore. The thing is that you just, I think after South by, I learned the mindset of, okay, there's always going to be a fire. You need to always mentally prep that there's going to be a fire. So what's your backup plan? And what's your backup to the backup plan?
Exactly.
And if you can't put out that fire, are you going to light another fire on the side that people pay attention to that while you take care of the first fire? Or something? You see what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to just like constantly problem solve and figure that out. But the mindset is like after you've faced that, you're not scared anymore. So that's why like tackling like Comic Palooza, RTX.
That was
man.
Fun.
We had some like, what was it? Then the block party that we did where we shut down an entire street, and then y'all sold out of merch in like less than 2 days. Like whether it was like the full tour that we did across like 3 cities, like that was bananas, but that was super nuts. Fun. Like it was a ton of work in all those things. But as soon as I did it the first time, I'm someone that gains confidence through repetition. And by the end of the year, I wasn't scared at all to do any of it.
Yeah,
it was super fun. And then when the opportunity came to do like the Spec Ops activation with the Call of Duty team for Optic, like just so fun. I remember even RNG hitting us up to do like a watch party for one of their events. Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, we need to do something. Sure, I can help you. What's up? We need to throw an event in like less than 2 weeks." I'm like, "Okay, how big?"
Like 2 weeks. That's more time than I need. Obviously, 2 weeks is not an ideal time frame, but
we made it work. Like that, I think that's the thing about Infinite is that we were grinding so hard and so fast that anything that was less than 60-hour weeks felt like a vacation.
Oh my goodness, 60? Yeah, for real. I remember there was a time I did this to myself because I don't know, I'm weird with that, but there was a time where I would get up and I'd be there at 7 a.m. to 8 or 9. Like it was, and it was never anything where like I was, not sleeping or not enjoying what I was doing or like dreading going. Like I loved every second of it.
Same, 100%. I think Infinite was one of the happiest years of my life.
I think I never really thought about it like this, and I don't know what you said just now that triggered it, but I feel like the Infinite project as a whole was a stress test for like what, like how the companies under Infinite, like whether it's merchandise, marketing, etc.
Sure.
How thinly you could spread each component, to what, like, how am I trying to word this? Like, if one person is responsible for X amount of jobs, how thinly can that person be spread before you need to get another person in to lighten the load?
Or they mentally crack and then, then they're gone.
I mean,
they leave for another team.
Ideally not that way, but
yeah,
like,
but I get it. It was tough. That's what marketing felt like. Legit,
Yeah.
like we handled everything. It was crazy how many different teams that. Man, it was nuts, but it was like a good kind of nuts.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever like, it's funny how like I've had jobs in the past where it's like I hated going in. I would dread Monday.
Yep.
And it's very much the Gary Vee thing where it's like he says, if you love Fridays so much that you hate Monday through Thursday, you need to reevaluate your life. And I agree with him.
No, 100%.
Because, man, I was there. The thing is that I remember during the summer, for a particular block of time, I was in a different city every weekend.
Yep.
I remember one weekend I was in a different city for each weekend, and then was at E3 for an entire week, and I flew straight to Houston to throw a watch party as soon as I got off the plane.
That week was crazy.
That was nuts.
I remember coming in because that was the week I went on the cruise. So disregard the South by thing, but I remember I came back from my cruise and immediately got on the plane, flew to LA, landed, got in an Uber and met you guys at the I met you guys in the box at the Overwatch League.
That was amazing.
That was awesome because that was, I mean, obviously the first time I saw an Overwatch League match.
Yeah.
And to see it from the box was super cool, and like that weekend was superb.
That was amazing.
That was fun. Yeah, but everybody that week / those couple weeks leading up to and after that event everybody was all over the place because that was just like the Christmas time or whatever of esports. Everything happened those like 10 days or whatever. It was a mess.
That was so.
But it was so much fun.
Ugh. Yeah, I think that I remember particularly there was like that moment of like us like being there and having it almost feel surreal.
Yeah.
Where Pocket put on the jersey.
Oh my good.
And we just lost our minds.
Yeah,
like it's happening, dude.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like everything came together. So okay, that's the other thing. So the jersey.
Yep.
Do you know the story of how that came to be?
The
black Houston Outlaws jersey.
You talking about the what it
jersey.
says on the back, or like what part of it?
So the original base, the beginning of it, before you guys picked it up. So the reason why that jersey came to be is I was trying to figure out a partner of a sports team for Band Together, which was the local marketing initiative that we were pushing, right?
Sure,
for Houston Outlaws, which, not just saying we won awards with that. I'm just saying shout out to the boys, shout out to everybody. Everyone's a part of it. You guys are amazing. But part of what I was pushing when it came to Band Together was like we wanted to put together something that binds together esports fans, but also shows them, like in all these cities that are massive sports cities, you want to fly your colors, you want to rep your team, you want to have the camaraderie of being like, we're Houston, damn it, we are family together, we are all sports fans, and this is what we love.
Sure, yeah.
And that was at the core, the premise, the heart of all of it. And the big thing for us was we want to be treated like another sports team.
Yeah.
So I was hitting up every single sports team that I could, whether it was the Dynamo, whether it was the Rockets, and eventually it was the Houston Astros.
Okay, yeah.
Like I was in a call with their management team and trying to figure things out.
Yes.
Now we had talked previously with one of the with the Texas Rangers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they Neil Liebman had put in was from that team and had part ownership in Infinite, right?
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
I remember when we talked with them about how we could do things that are in different colorways that look like it's Optic or Outlaws, but it doesn't say it, right?
Yeah.
So I went to the Astros and I was talking with them about it, and I proposed to them. I was like, look, I know okay, maybe there's like we weren't fully on the same page, but I remember like, look, maybe I can show you a couple ideas of ways that we can like work together in really subtle ways. And maybe we can do things where we then eventually can lead that into events and stuff like that, but also ways for you to monetize.
Yeah.
So I went to Gomi, and I said, hey, I want us to figure out a black and green version of this old school Houston Astros jersey that just says Houston on the front. Very simple, but it's very Astros, and it'll fit with what we learned from the Texas Rangers, which is they can just change the material to be black and green, and it'll be the same thing, and they can sell it technically because it doesn't go against the guidelines of the MLB. So I put in the design request, I talked with Gomi, and he had come up with the basic design of it at the time, and I was hovering behind him, as I probably shouldn't have been, because everyone used to harass the designers, but it was had at that point.
Sorry, guys.
But I remember standing behind him and then seeing it, and we're talking through it a bit, and who was it that came by? God. Oh, it was Trent. It was Trent that came by. Trent came by, he walked past, and he stops. And he's like, yo, that's sick.
I remember this.
He's like, yo, that's super sick.
Yeah.
Give me that. And give me the emblem that you've been working on. And from there, you guys took it and ran with it, and that became one of the most successful items, I think, for it, and one of the most designing of them.
Yes, yeah, I remember. So I wasn't there when he said that sick, because he was probably just walking, because Trent walks and talks, because that's his thing. But I remember he got that. I remember somehow it made its way to me. I took it home that night, and I was like, we got to do something with this. We added something to it. I remember the badge on the side. It was a simplistic, clean design. It was just black with the green trim. It said Houston, just like the Astros. We had the badge on the side, and I was like, let's tie this into the Outlaws somehow. So then we took the sharpshooters text,
which was such a sick idea.
Oh, man,
it was so good. And
my
that's
favorite thing ever.
It's one of the things that you guys did that set the tone for everyone else. Like in that community, I am still so one of the communities that we helped build up was the Lone Star Vanguard, which is the fan group in Austin. Originally, what I had planned was I wanted each city to have a fan group, so that way it was easy for them to throw watch parties themselves
at their own places,
right? Because I wanted the whole concept for also band together was to give places for people to go to band together and cheer on the Outlaws, right? And hang out with other sports fans. So the thought process was, cool, we're gonna get all these guys to do these, to take care of their each individual ones. I'm gonna give them and enable them anything they need to make this thing work. So whether it's infinite amounts of swag, I'll take care of it. Whether it's opportunities to meet their favorite players, I'll do it. Whether it's to have them come out to events to experience it, so that they can, maybe they get to meet the players, also be a part of the event, maybe volunteer a little bit, I'll take care of it, whatever they need. And it's so much so that even now, they still look at me as like one of their leadership. Even though I'm not even a part of it anymore, I'm still in the LSV Discord. I'm still praised beyond more than I should be. But I mean, I love those guys so much. They're just absolutely incredible people, and that's one of the items that they wear to every single event. Like that is their flag.
That was. It's still like, well, what were we at? At DreamHack. We were at DreamHack. I guess Dallas isn't.
It was Austin.
Hometown. I'm talking about the one that was just that one I saw a few jerseys at. But what was the most recent event? I guess it must have been Austin, because that was the most recent one that I went to.
It was Austin last year, Dallas this year, and then.
But what was the most? Well, this infinite time. What was the most? What was the last one? It was Austin, right? Yeah. So I remember we went down to that, and it was like everywhere I turned around at a DreamHack. That's like It was more than just like an Outlaws event. It was like there was tons of stuff going on, and I just felt like it was everywhere.
It felt like that with RTX too.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yes, yeah. That and Comic Palooza. It's just like
Comic Palooza was mad fun though. I was a little salty about that event because they weren't completely transparent with me about where we were going to be placed at first.
That's right.
I was mad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember me being mad, but I was like, bro, if you had just put us on the bottom floor next to the T-Mobile truck, fam, we would have crushed it, bro.
I mean, we still did decent with
We did.
I mean, for us,
good.
we did okay. I know it's a little different for you guys, but for us, I'm concerned with. I bring tubs full of merchandise. I leave with tubs empty.
Yeah.
Good weekend.
I mean, look, 40,000 people showing up at that event is pretty good. And I could think a fair percentage of them came up to that floor and saw us. It was amazing. We had great results. I feel like out of all the activations, though, I feel like RTX was the best crowd in a lot of ways because it was a bunch of RTX is a great place where it's just general gaming and anime.
Yeah.
And that is the exact demographics for the Outlaws.
Yep.
So it worked out. That was one of the best events, I think.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. And just having them on stage in front of that sea of people. Oh my gosh, that show match was super fun.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. Yeah. That was, man. So for me, my first what was the event after South by? Was that Comicpalooza? Was that the first one after?
I don't remember. It was something like that.
Whichever. It was not counting the block party.
Like
the first con.
I think it was Comicpalooza.
I guess it must have been. But so for me, that was my first con.
Really?
I had never been to anything like that before. So for me, and I had just started watching anime probably 2 weeks prior. So Anime League, I went from Call of Duty bro-y, not that I'm bro-y, but that was the only game I played. Call of Duty and Halo. And then all of a sudden, come into Infinite, meet some new people, start playing League, start watching anime, and it's just
Start eating ramen.
You're
welcome.
Yes, thank you. That was ramen, Korean barbecue, the whole stuff. And I walk into this whatever Comic-Con-esque type feeling. For me, I was like, I would never do that. And now I'm like, I wish I did this before because this is super dope.
It's good to be a nerd, man.
Yeah. Oh, man. Nerd
it's
life.
So much fun.
Y'all don't know what you're missing. Don't hate on nerd life.
It's crazy because, it's such an interesting feeling now where it's like growing up, we were always bullied for being nerds. Being the geeky nerdy ones, and now we're this interesting dynamic where it's like now we're the ones that are the cool kids, and everyone's like, oh man, I want to be a geek, I want to be a nerd, and then the thing is that with our community, I feel like when you come into esports, you come in with negative cred. People's BS meter is mad high, and you have to show you got value and you actually know your stuff and you care and all that.
No, I agree with you. My BS meter is through the roof on everybody. Publicly, I won't ever tell you you're BSing me, but I have a very, very high BS meter just off the rip. That's just how I am.
I'm the same way too.
Yeah.
It's as soon as someone says e-gaming, I'm like, oh man.
That's it. I mean,
I remember saying that to Trent, and he's like, I understand why you feel that way, but you should think of it as an opportunity.
That's true.
You should think of it as a way to help educate someone so that they don't make that same mistake, and when they avoid it in the future, they thank you for it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. If you get them once and you can correct it, great. If they keep doing it, I'm walking. That E-gaming crap.
Oh, no.
Get out of here.
E-gaming, fam.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, memory lane over here.
Bro, there is so much shenanigans we've done.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you. The first time we hung out, we got Korean barbecue. How good was it?
As someone who's never eaten Korean barbecue before, at the time, I now eat Korean barbecue on a regular basis. No, but for real, it was, I don't know. I'd been very non-culture, back on Long Island. I mean, Long Island is Long Island. There's a ton of everything there. But for whatever reason, I just kept to myself. I did my thing. I went to work, came home, played video games, did the Sector 6 thing. I didn't do too much. But then I guess the thing with coming here was I met a lot of new people and, it opened my eyes up to those things, to those opportunities. So I think that was a big factor. I just need to be pushed. But Korean barbecue is bomb. If it, and I got a list. Did you come with? No. I took her on my own, but Alyssa loves Korean barbecue too now. It's
I'm so happy.
It's great, man.
I'm so happy. People just I could help you on the way. Bro, oh my gosh. And there were so many small little things that I remember us doing over that year. It was super fun. Yeah. I think though, the thing is that I kind of miss the most is the feeling of camaraderie and just being in a massive environment full of people that are just absolutely crushing it. I feel like people drag Infinite through the mud for this and that, and I'm not going to comment on that one way or the other. But the one thing is that I think is indisputable is the fact that every single person in there, minus a handful, are absolute killers at what they did.
No, 100%.
They were excellent at what they did, and they were just, it was one of those situations where Chris Chaney's superpower was getting together a superstar team. I cannot say anything but nice things about most of the people there, but there was, granted, there's a handful of people that I don't know if I can forgive some of them, but I think the biggest thing for me is that everyone came in there with this bright eyes, and I think they had the same hustle that we did, which was Monday's the start of it. Like I think the better way of looking at life at Infinite was there was no Monday.
Yeah.
But there was also no Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
There was only grinding and then taking off time so you don't get sick. Yeah. And keep yourself together and then go back to grinding, right?
Am I grinding from my bedroom today, or am I grinding from the office?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, everyone had the hustle, and I think that it's the thing is that every one of those people, I think, had the mindset to be successful. Mm-hmm. I think everyone there was an absolute killer, but it was just because someone came along and said, "Let me help enable you. Let me give you the resources it takes for you to be successful."
Yeah.
And, however things ended up, I can't say it is what it is, but I'm thankful for Chris Chaney for the opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I say this anytime the conversation comes up. It's like, I touched on it a little bit in the beginning. All it was, giving tons and tons of kids and young adults like an opportunity to do something that they're passionate about. And like, I think that is super important for, the esports space as a whole. Like this, I don't know if it necessarily triggered things to happen like as a ripple effect throughout the space, but I think, it was a huge milestone in the esports space. And I think, coming to work and having all the people who are just as passionate as you and but in different aspects, like I said before, you have your marketing, you have, production, the creative, you have merchandise and all that. And I could turn around and be like, so what would you do in this situation? And what would you do in this situation? And get a ton of different answers. And whether they're right, wrong, or indifferent, it was just great to just put all different things that you wouldn't have seen before. And I don't know, it was so much different than throwing on a headset, hopping into Discord call and being like, so what are we doing tonight?
Yeah. I agree. I think that one of the big things that I subscribe to, and I still do now at AoE, is I want to do things bigger and badder and different than what everybody else in this industry is doing.
100%. Yeah.
When the whole point of Band Together and everything that we did with the Outlaws, the entire mindset was, look, we're going to, all these other Overwatch teams, they're going in this direction, right? They're going to go mediocrity. They're not doing anything that crazy. They're doing like every other traditional esports team. Bump that. We're going in the opposite direction, headlong, full committing, and we're going to activate our community. We're going to empower our community, and we're going to trust that they're going to put us on their shoulders and lift us up.
Sure. Yeah,
and they did.
Yep.
And we were right.
Yeah.
We were right.
It worked,
The Outlaws were the most tweeted about Overwatch League team season 1, period. And one of the, there's a bunch of other statistics that are out there that I can't share publicly, but
right.
Trust me,
it was good stuff.
That is still far and away one of the things I'm most proud of in this life.
Yeah.
That might be probably one of the coolest things I think I've ever done with my life. But it also set a standard for me.
Exactly.
I go to E3 and I see these massive exhibits and I'm like, how am I going to take these ideas and apply them to my clients?
Yeah.
My work in the future, because I cannot stand being mediocre. I need to be louder. I need to be bigger. I mean, sure, that comes through in everything I think about me.
Yeah.
But I God damn it, I want to be better. And I think that your clients and your fans at the end of the day will sense that and will feel that, and when they understand that hunger, that for you to express yourself and understand that you can push that creativity to make something bigger and badder that no one else has seen before, that maybe that 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid sees, you know, this massive McCree statue in an outlaw's garb, right? The outlaw skin. And or maybe it's the watch party that they've gone to, that their parents brought them to. And that's what changes their life. That's what I'm about.
That's powerful.
I want to be able to take the next generation of kids and make them not feel like the weird kid like I did growing up, where esports and gaming is the norm. It's the norm for them to enjoy and love that. I want them to feel like this is just part of life. And it's not that crazy to do it. But I also want to see a future where brands go above and beyond for the fans, for the community. Like, and having the Outlaws and Band Together being that example that I hope will ultimately benefit the community as a whole, because brands want to go out there and they want to do cool things for the fans that are heartfelt and genuine and cool, and that positively influences everyone. So if I can lead the pack and drive it in that direction, I mean, I want to be the guy to do it.
I mean, so far, you've been with that pack, leading it, with it,
man,
leading it, whatever.
I think it was like that last year.
Doing that thing, yeah.
We definitely were last year, and
sure.
To be fair, I think that I think that we definitely had an effect, because I feel like now I look at Overwatch League Season 2 and I see them doing all the things that we either attempted to do, we did do, or we had ideas
to do. Yeah, for sure.
So I think that in that sense, we did help push it in that direction. And I'm so thankful for it, because the fans ultimately are going to be the ones that benefit from it.
Exactly.
And that leaves me happy at the end of the day. As long as I made the world a better place by whatever way that I can do it, whether it was me helping someone explain it, you know, make them understand a fighting game a little bit better and understand why fighting games are like so cool, or whether it's giving them some sort of an Overwatch League experience or some sort of an event activation that, you know, gives them that life-changing moment like I had with Fubar Duck. You know, like I want them to feel passionately about something like that. So do it day by day, client by client, but I think that at the end of the day is like the biggest goal, and I just hope other people also get in that same mindset too, because at the end of the day we all win, right?
Yeah. I mean, as time goes on, I think you'll as the more, I guess, 9 to 5-esque feeling of working in esports will start to kind of come around more often, you know, and it's less of just working from home type thing and in your free time. You'll start to see the people who are passionate will start to continue to pull away, and you know, the people who are doing it right will pull away, and you know, leave the people who are just kind of doing it or just kind of got lucky, kind of leave them in the dust, and you know, you'll start to see everything start to settle out.
Yeah, I'm down for the evolution, man.
Yeah.
That's what we're all about in fighting games, man. That's why Evo, I feel like, is such a big thing.
Sure.
Because it's the evolution of a meta. It's an evolution of the players. It's seeing the next generation of guys stepping up, right?
Yeah. So
that's what I'm about at the end. I guess it's a little bit Darwinism in some ways.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what everything is, to be honest, especially in such a growing industry.
Man, every 3 months it's just constantly different. It's nuts.
Scary.
Bro, did you see the Liquid jerseys that they partnered up with Marvel today?
Yeah, we were like, dude, they're printing the Avengers logo? Like, what are they? Oh, it's like that? we all, I think Mitch pulled the stream up, and we were all like, what do they do? Oh, that's legit.
I lost my mind,
yeah,
bro.
that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, my God, I lost my mind.
Gotta give him credit for that.
I was sick, dude. Like, I love stuff like that. That's just
for sure.
Absolutely, like, that. Like, I feel like those are the moments that we always will look back to and reference and be like, but this, though.
Yeah.
How do we get that same feeling?
Yeah. Oof.
I love seeing other people that are doing creative stuff.
Yeah.
It just gets me pumped and it gives me ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cool. Well, you know, obviously we down memory lane a little bit and talked about the futures and, you know, where we see esports and all that. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to tell people?
I mean, for me, me right now, I'm kind of in this interesting place where I'm head of events at AoE. So we have some fun. We have a bunch of different clients. I don't want to talk about all of it right now, but I think the big thing for us is like we're still the same team that won awards at Infinite.
Sure, yeah.
So it's still the same team. We're still hustling. We still have the same chemistry.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it. Like everybody there is just, I can't say enough nice things about them. Like all of them are damn good at what they do.
It's a good squad.
And yeah, and they're good people. They got a good head on their shoulders. They have good hearts. And I know that at the end of the day, I trust them to handle business. But I think that for me, on my end, while I've been grinding and hustling with them, I've been also doing a lot of stream stuff on my own.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out like things that I want to do, whether it's like kind of doing my own gameplay, interviewing people that are in the industry, but also I kind of want to just get the chance to know the community. Like I don't stream for money. I don't care about any of that. But what I care about is just building communities, having a bunch of fun with a lot of people, and playing games. And if anybody listening wants to do that, you can come hit me up. I'm on Twitter at NeptuneFGC, twitch.tv/Neptune. Just come hit me up. Jump in there and play games. Have fun.
Plug.
100%, dude. Come hang out.
Yeah.
Any opportunity I can get for people to come play games and just chill, I'm down. That's why I'm hitting these guys up all the time, all the Sector 6 homies.
Yeah.
That's why any chance I get, I'm trying to hit up homies and play games. That's all I care about my free time.
Every time I want to go home, sometimes I just want to turn on some League or play some Overwatch or something, but then I got the dogs that got to get taken care of, and then I got
that life stuff, man.
Yeah, life stuff. It just gets in the way.
That's why I'm all. I mean, that's for me. I think I spent all last year grinding and not able to play games.
Yeah.
That's why this year, like, when I actually get free time, I'm all about like just sitting down playing games and just meeting people. Like that's my favorite thing. I love talking to people and hearing their stories.
Me too, man.
That's why I want to do this, like the interview stuff with people and just kind of hear everybody's thought process.
Yeah.
Like that's something big for me, because I feel like hearing stories is the coolest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
As a shoutcaster, that's all you're doing is telling stories to people. So, I think that'd definitely be a lot of fun, and to just meet a bunch of people and just hear stories. So if you're interested in meeting me, if you want to talk, that's how you can find me.
Yeah, probably one of the easiest people to get along with and to talk to that I've met, at least probably ever. You're very, very, very easygoing, very good guy overall. And I'm glad we crossed paths and made this friendship that we did.
Likewise, brother.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get food.
Yeah, for real. So I mean, I guess that kind of wraps up this episode. Depending on where you're listening, not watching, because I'm still sorting out the video stuff. Make sure you follow or subscribe or leave a rating or whatever it is on the platform that you're listening to, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.
Yeet.